Hey, you'll never guess what I found. I found this old National Geographic book about dinosaurs. Look through several boxes in the attic to find this. I don't have a problem. You have a problem. Let me just open it up to the table of contents. Oh, man, it's so nice to see some of these names again. Ankylosaurus, Pachycephalosaurus, Carcharodontosaurus, Baryonyx, Tyrannosaurus, a basic bitch velociraptor, Allosaurus, always a good one. Let's take a look at some of these. Page 68. Yeah, I know the book is crumpled. It's like 10 years old. I want to hear it. 67, 68. There we go. The Ankylosaurus, or the fused lizard, a large dinosaur from the late Cretaceous period in North America. Ankylosaurus was covered from head to tail in sheets of thick, bony armor. Large, triangular horns protruded from the back of its skull, and all along its body the armor plates were embedded in the skin, with sharp spines sticking up along back and tail. Its tail was thickened at the end into a heavy, bony club, as it shared its habitat with fearsome predators such as the Tyrannosaurus and Albertosaurus. It probably needed all this heavy armor, yeah? Yes, I'm reading you a National Geographic book about dinosaurs. Now shush. Scientists think the tail club was formed from bony nodules that were originally embedded in the skin. As these nodules grew, they fused together into the bones of the tail. In front of the tail club, the individual tail bones were tightly interlocked, making the end of the tail very stiff and strong. Club movement was controlled by the actions of the muscles near the base of the tail, muscles that normally pull the hind limbs backwards during walking. These muscles could swing the tail from side to side. The thick, bony plates would have been a good defense against even the most determined theropod, but its underside was unarmored, so when attacked, Ankylosaurus probably crouched down to protect this vulnerable region. It might have been in danger if a predator could flip it over, but as Ankylosaurus weighed several tons, this would have been difficult to do. They are chonky. Theropods preying upon Ankylosaurus were tall, heavy, two-legged animals. As a result, they were slightly less stable than a short four-legged dinosaur. Because of the weight of their bodies, a simple fall could cause them to break some of their bones, especially their slender leg bones. A well-timed blow from the Ankylosaurus tail club could have knocked a predator over, broken one of its legs, resulting in serious injury or even death. Ankylosaurus is one of the only two family members of the family Ankylosauridae known from North America. All other ankylosaurids live in Eastern Asia. It appears that the group first evolved in Asia at sometime in the early Cretaceous period, when Eastern Asia and North America were connected by a land bridge. The ancestors of Ankylosaurus probably crossed into North America from Asia using this route. Let's take a look at this fact file. The genus Ankylosaurus, Classification, Ankylosauria, Thyreophora, Ankylosauridae. Its length was 10 to 11 meters and it weighed 4 tons. That's a lot. It lived about 68 to 65 million years ago and was found in Montana and Wyoming, and even Canada. That's cool. Let's keep going. Let's see what else I can find here. Ooh, Packy. Pretty tempting. dinosaurs is cool, but let's see if I can find. Oh, there's the Triceratops. Triceratops is cool, but let's see if I can find. Dinosaurs. Nope. Corythosaurus. I remember you. Really cool one. Lambeosaurus. Ah, we're getting to the lizard-hip dinosaurs. This is a good one. Not the Eoraptor or the Apatow. Not the Plateosaurus, but I should be coming up on the one I want. Yes! I found it. The Brachiosaurus, or the arm lizard. Yeah, shut up, it's a funny name to me. Brachiosaurus was once thought to be the largest dinosaur of all. Some scientists estimated that it weighed as much as 80 tons, making it heavier than the combined weight of 20 adult elephants. Most scientists now accept a figure of about 50 tons, but still much heavier than any land animal today. The name Brachiosaurus refers to the very long arms of the sauropod. It was the only dinosaur with arms that were much longer than its hind. Oh, sorry, hind limbs. The picture overtook it. That's on me. A feature that raised its chest and shoulder region of this animal to perhaps 8 feet or 2.5 meters above ground level. However, these long limbs were surprisingly slim, not strong enough for Brachiosaurus to run or even walk too quickly. The long arms might have been useful in stepping over large obstacles, or they could have been an adaptation for feeding on tall trees. The skull of Brachiosaurus has a long snout and many stout chisel-like teeth. The large curved bar of bone in front of the eye marks the position of the animal's nostrils. Yeah, they had a weird face. The neck also contributed to this high-level feeding strategy. It was made up of 12 individual vertebrae, each of which could be over 28 inches or 70 centimeters long. This gave the neck length a total of about 30 feet or 9 meters. Add this to the height of the shoulders, and it would be reasonable to suggest that Brachiosaurus could reach plants up to 36 feet or 11 meters above ground level while standing on all fours. Few other sauropods could reach these levels, so Brachiosaurus was able to feed with little disturbance. When Brachiosaurus held its neck upright, it would be very hard for the heart to pump blood all the way up to the brain, unless there was some way to boost circulation. This problem could have been solved in several ways. The heart might have been capable of keeping the blood pressure very high, so that blood could always reach the brain. But then when Brachiosaurus bent down to drink, the high blood pressure could cause many of the fragile blood vessels in the brain to burst. Giraffes solved this problem with elastic, muscular arteries. They keep blood flowing and a protective network of capillaries behind the brain to prevent blood from flooding when the head is lowered. Did the problem of pumping blood to the head prevent Brachiosaurus from raising its head above shoulder height? If this were the case, why should Brachiosaurus and other sauropods have developed such long necks? The vertebrae of all advanced sauropod dinosaurs had holes in their sides known as pleurosols. These often became so large that the vertebrae were reduced to a honeycomb structure of struts and bars. These were filled with air sacs that made the vertebrae very light, but strong enough to support the animal's weight. Got another fact file here. The classification is Sauropoda, Titanosauromorpha, and Brachiosauridae. The length was up to 92 feet or 28 meters, and it weighed about 50 tons. It lived around 156 to 144 million years ago and was found in Colorado and Utah, maybe Portugal. Ooh, this skeleton of Bronchiosaurus in the Humboldt Museum in Berlin is the tallest mounted dinosaur skeleton on display anywhere in the world. It's cool. I'm gonna go back to the table of contents because there's one more. Let's see. Not the Dilophosaurus. I know some fun facts about the Dilophosaurus, but that's not the one I want to talk about. Where is the... Man, this is not alphabetized. Page 146. 137. 142. And here we go. Now, unfortunately, the Spinosaurus is not in this. So the next best thing, the Baryonyx, or heavy claw. It was discovered in 1983 in a quarry in southern England. It was a surprising and important find, as paleontologists had collected fossils from these rocks for many years, but had not found any evidence of this dinosaur before. In addition, Baryonyx is very different in shape from most other meat-eating dinosaurs and a very different diet. The skull of Baryonyx is very long, low, and narrow. The nostrils, instead of being at the tip of the skull as they are in most other theropods, placed about 4 inches or 10 centimeters back along the snout. The teeth are wider with finer serrations than the blade-like steak knife teeth of other meat eaters, making them more efficient stabbers than slashers. At the end of these jaws, the teeth are larger in size and stand out from the bone in a circular rosette pattern. These types of skull adaptations can be seen in the modern fish-eating crocodilian, the gavial of southern Asia, and strongly suggest that Baryonyx lived on a diet of fish. The teeth of Baryonyx could pierce soft flesh, and their rosette structure helped it grip and hold slippery fish. As its nostrils were placed farther back, it could hold its snout in water and breathe at the same time. The arms are very strong and end in large claws used to hook fish out of the water, complete with horny sheath. I know, haha, funny. The biggest claw is nearly 1 foot or 0.3 meters long. Baryonyx lived during a time when the south of what is now England enjoyed a subtropical climate. It lived on a large river delta or floodplain very close to the sea. Large fish, some of which reached as much as 10 feet or 3 meters in length, inhabited these waters. The partly digested remains of some of these fish, including scales and teeth, were found preserved in the stomach region of Baryonyx as the fossil was excavated. Some features of the hand and skull suggest that Baryonyx was also a scavenger, that is, and fed on dead animals. Its strong arms and claws might have been used to rip open carcasses, and the position of its nostrils would have enabled it to feed with its snout deep inside a carcass while still being able to breathe. Remains of a young iguanodon were also found close to the belly region of a Baryonyx, supporting the idea that it not only fed on fish, but other dinosaurs. Let's see. The low, narrow shape of the skull allowed it to move quickly through water with little resistance. There are twice the number of teeth in the lower jaw than there are in the upper jaw. This enabled Baryonyx to gain a firm grip on its fishy prey. On the other hand, Baryonyx was not well adapted for attacking and killing larger land animals, because its long skull would have been prone to bending. Let's look at this fact file. Classification, Spinosauridae, Theropoda. Length up to 39 feet or 12 meters. Weighed 1.5 to 2 tons and lived about 125 to 119 million years ago and was found in southeast England and Spain. Yes, I'm going to keep reading this. Fine, if you don't want to read it, then leave. Leave me to my dinosaurs.